You there, do you like exclusive videos? Well, you're in luck, because I have a Patreon and Subscribe star, and if you join today, you get access to this month's exclusive video where I talk about the haunted world of El Super Bisto. And now, on with the video. What's good, people? Agent Juice reporting for duty. The Wicked Witch of the West. Probably the most iconic witch in all of modern day pop culture. When you think of a witch, you think of a green-skinned old hag in a pointy hat and a black dress, flying around on a broom, talking about getting you, my pretties. It's so iconic, it's now considered generic. But along comes something new, a little bit of a subversion, where a book that was turned into a musical called Wicked comes out to tell the more nuanced tale of our dear Wicked Witch of the West. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on our favorite broom. Let us tell our flying monkeys to go kidnap a child. Let us have a bizarre curse that makes us melt, unless you're talking about the musical, in which case apparently that doesn't happen, but if you're talking about the book that the musical was based on, it's still something that happens. The point is that smash the like button, man. Just smash it real good and turn it into a toad, because that's what generic witches do. And let's just go ahead and jump into this mess. So, as per usual, first we talk about the speed paint. So once again, we are here in the Velicia Cosplay series, where I take my OC Velicia from my cartoon SCHNEEEVIL and I cosplay her as a villain in order to dissect the villain and the story that they belong in, so I can use it for my own writing. Here, of course, we have Velicia dressing up as the iconic Wicked Witch of the West. Or, if you are a musical nerd, Elphaba, as her name is in Wicked, the book and the musical. Now, for those of you who do pay attention to the Velicia Cosplays series, you'll notice that this is the very, very first time I have ever altered Velicia's skin tone for the sake of this picture. And there's a really specific reason why I did it. And the reason why is because the green skin of the Wicked Witch is part of the iconic look. If I were to just leave Velicia's skin tone as it usually is, she would just look like she's just dressing up as a generic witch. And that's kind of a big thing here, is that because Elphaba, or Wicked Witch, whatever you want to call her, is so iconic that she became generic, you have to do her look to the T, and if you leave out any detail, then you just end up getting a generic archetype. There are 4 main versions that I'm going to consider here of the Wicked Witch of the West. And of those 4, I'm going to boil it down to 2. The 4 versions I am talking about are the original depiction of the Wicked Witch from the original book that came out in like the late 1800s, I think. There is, of course, the most iconic version, which is the 1939 movie version of the Wicked Witch. Then comes the book version of Wicked, which came out in like 95, of Elphaba, the first time that the Wicked Witch was, I believe the first time she was named, or at least the first time she was popularly named. And then finally, the musical adaptation of the Wicked book of Elphaba. So we basically have 2 Wicked Witches and 2 Elphabas. What I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to take away the book versions, and the reason why is because, let's be real here, the movie and the musical are more popular than the books. So we're just going to use that there in order to simplify this extrapolation. Now, before I really step into it, I have to address an elephant in the room. And what is this elephant? The elephant is the last time I did a Velicia cosplay of a character who had an original villain version and explain away the evil version was Maleficent. Okay, I did a Velicia cosplays of Maleficent. In the Maleficent video, I specifically went out of my way to ignore the Angelina Jolie movie that attempted to explain away why Maleficent wasn't all bad. And yet here I am, taking the Wicked Witch and taking Wicked, which is a story that attempts to explain away the evil. Why am I allowing Wicked to explain away its evil for the sake of this cosplay video and not Maleficent? Well, the main reason why is because I believe, personally, that the explanation of Maleficent being not all bad took away from what made Maleficent, the Disney cartoon original version, so evil to begin with. Whereas I believe, personally, that the musical Wicked actually does a pretty good job at adding on to what we already know about the 1939 movie Wicked Witch. So that's why I'm allowing this explanation versus the Maleficent one where I did not want to take part in it for the sake of that video. So what exactly am I pulling from Elphaba, the Wicked Witch, and putting into Velicia? I believe it all boils down to the bigger picture, which is why I'm including Elphaba and Wicked Witch version into one person, which is the twisted ambition. You see, what we know of the Wicked Witch of the West from the original movie is that she's a bad witch, right? She's a wicked witch, she does evil, but her motive for wanting to chase down Dorothy is actually quite sound. The girl did murder her sister and steal the magic slippers. So really all she's doing is she was off bumming around doing her evil wicked witch thing. All of a sudden, an intruder comes and murders her sister, who is also wicked, you know, but still, you murdered my family and you stole the shoes. I'm coming after them shoes. That is perfectly reasonable. So it's a nice cut and dry thing. It doesn't really tell you much about the Wicked Witch other than that she has a really good reason for aiming her wickedness at Dorothy. So now we take Elphaba. To I'm going to try to simplify it because the Wicked musical is quite interesting, and by the way, it's nothing like the book. I'll tell you that right now. Anyway, Elphaba was once a fiery young woman who believed in all kinds of good things. A big linchpin in the Wicked musical is that she's kind of an activist because in the setting, one of the big things she fights for is the rights of talking animals because it is kind of believed that talking animals are considered unnatural and an abomination, and the Wizard of Oz himself is actually planning to take away the sentience from all of these talking animals. And when Elphaba finds out, and she says, like, well, you know, that's not fair, she tries to fight against it, but thanks to the wizard's big charismatic sway over the people of Oz, he basically ends up turning people against Elphaba. And so she decides, well, you know, screw you, I don't need you guys. Which is like, you know, I'm gonna do this fight myself. So what if they think I'm a pariah? You know, I'll still fight, which is where you get that iconic song "Defying Gravity" from. However, there's a character she has who's like her lover named Fiyero, I think, and Fiyero is actually the Scarecrow, and there's a scene where like he's killed or when he's initially turned. Point is, something bad happens to him, and you know, it breaks Elphaba's heart, and it kind of solidifies, like in her quest for revenge, it kind of solidifies her as the Wicked Witch, which is when she finally decides, fine, if you want to see me as the Wicked Witch, I'll be the wickedest witch you've ever seen. And so that's when she fully embraces her evil. All of this ties back into Velicia, into what I mentioned, which is that twisted ambition. Velicia is essentially in the process of doing that right now. That is the story I want to tell with Velicia, taking her insecurity and attempting to turn them into fear and strength in order to rise to become a villain. You see, there is a song that Elphaba sings, I think it's called No Good Deed, where it's her song where she accepts that, fine, if you're going to treat me as the Wicked Witch, I will be the wickedest witch you've ever saw, dagnabbit. That song, however long it lasts, that is SCHNEEEVIL, okay? That song stretched into an entire cartoon is what I'm trying to make SCHNEEEVIL. It is Velicia saying, I will become the villain. And so we have to see in SCHNEEEVIL the long process of Velicia attempting to become a villain. Now, with Elphaba, it's much more tragic, it's much more bleeding heart, and with SCHNEEEVIL, the cartoon, it's meant to be a lot more comedic, and so, you know, we get to laugh at Velicia's failures, but in essence, these two characters are aiming for the same thing. Their twisted ambition is pushing them toward something that they are using not for its own sake, not for villainy, but rather in order to turn past trauma into some kind of strength, and villainy seems to be the best way forward for both characters. Now, this is very interesting because what this means is that of all characters I've had Velicia cosplay as in this series, it seems that Elphaba is the most like Velicia, or I should say Velicia is the most like Elphaba, more so than any other character. Elphaba, when she becomes the Wicked Witch that we know her as, is basically Velicia if she succeeds in her bizarre quest to become a villain. Now, obviously the Wicked Witch did not conquer the entire world, but she has solidified herself as an entity to be feared, and one that requires the unified effort of the denizens of Oz to overcome in some way, shape, or form. But unlike Elphaba, who just gets to sing one song and get there, Velicia has to do it the hard way by going through an entire cartoon series, and that's kind of the plan. Hooey! Okay, I think I'll go ahead and wrap it up there for today. So you people know what to do. If you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and tickle those sacred buttons. Go ahead and comment below so I can hear what you have to say about this video, and go ahead and share the video so people know that you watch good content. Also, remember I do have a Patreon and Subscribe Star. If you want to see my exclusive videos, you can check those out. And of course, if you wish to stalk me elsewhere on the interbuts, I always leave my links here up on the screen, as well as emphasize minds.com, because it is one of the alternative social media sites that is challenging the hegemony, and that's always good for the free market. And so yes, with all that said, I thank you for spending this time with me. I do hope you all stick around. And until next time, fly, my pretties, and deuces.